I booked the place on a Thursday night, 2 weeks before my trip to the city. The listing was gorgeous. Exposed brick walls, a king-sized bed framed by 2 arched windows, a clawfoot bathtub, warm Edison bulb lighting throughout. The host had a 5-star rating, over 300 reviews. Words like cozy, immaculate, and host was incredibly attentive appeared again and again. I remember thinking, this is exactly what I needed, a solo getaway, 3 nights to myself, away from everything. I arrived on a Friday evening. The key was in a lockbox by the front door, just as the host had described in the automated welcome message. His name was listed as Marcus on the profile. The message was warm, almost too warm, the kind that felt like it had been carefully written and rewritten before sending. He said he lived nearby if I needed anything. He said to make myself at home. He said the city was beautiful in October and that I should enjoy every moment. The apartment was on the 3rd floor of a brownstone building, old wood floors that sighed under my weight, a kitchen that smelled faintly of pine cleaner. 2 tall windows in the living area looked down onto the street, and at night, the amber glow of the streetlights painted long rectangles across the floor. I set my bag down, ordered food, took a long bath, and fell asleep before 10. It was perfect. The first thing I noticed was on Saturday morning. I had gotten up early to make coffee and walked into the kitchen still half asleep. There was a small, round device on the shelf above the refrigerator, nestled between a ceramic rooster figurine and a stack of cookbooks. It was black, cylindrical, maybe 4 inches tall. I did not think much of it at first. I assumed it was a Bluetooth speaker or an air quality monitor. I made my coffee, I checked my phone, I left. I spent the day walking. The city was everything I had hoped for. I ate lunch at a sidewalk cafe, wandered through a weekend market, bought a scarf I did not need. By the time I returned to the apartment in the late afternoon, I had almost forgotten about the device entirely. Almost. I noticed it again when I was changing clothes. I had stepped out of the bathroom with a towel around me and walked into the main room, and as I reached for my bag on the bed, my eye caught the kitchen shelf again. The device was still there. And this time, from this angle, I could see something I had not noticed before. A tiny ring of dim light, almost invisible, a dark red, the kind of red a camera uses when it is on but trying not to be seen. I stood very still. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself the light was a reflection or a standby indicator or something completely harmless. I walked to the shelf, slowly, and picked up the device. It was heavier than a speaker should be. The bottom had no charging port, no brand name, just a smooth, matte surface with a small recessed hole on one side. I turned it in my hands. I placed it back. Then I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and searched on my phone for that exact cylindrical shape. The first result that came back was from a home security website. It was a hidden camera, disguised as an air purifier, 1080p, motion activated, Wi-Fi connected, night vision capable. My mouth went dry. I sat on the edge of the bathtub for a long time. I was telling myself over and over that there had to be an innocent explanation. Maybe it had been left there by a previous guest. Maybe it was something Marcus used to monitor air quality and simply forgotten to disclose. I am a reasonable person. I do not want to accuse anyone of something terrible. But my hands were trembling. I unlocked the bathroom door slowly and looked out into the apartment. The light from the street was golden and long. Everything looked exactly the same as it had the night before, but it did not feel the same. The apartment that had felt warm and quiet now felt like something was sitting behind its walls, watching, listening, adjusting. I started looking more carefully then. I moved slowly through each room, examining every surface. Above the bedroom door, I found a small smoke detector. I studied it for several minutes. It looked standard, but the vent holes on one side were perfectly circular in a way that did not match the irregular pattern on the other. I photographed it. I photographed the device in the kitchen. I photographed the angle of the living room from where each device sat. Then I looked up the floor plan in the listing photos. The kitchen device had a direct line of sight to the front door, the living room couch, and the kitchen counter. The smoke detector above the bedroom door had a clear view of the bed. I started to feel sick. I called the Airbnb support number. I was on hold for 11 minutes. When someone answered, I was calm. I explained what I had found. I gave them the listing number. I told them about the devices and their placement. The representative was professional. She told me that hidden cameras are a violation of platform policy and that an investigation would be opened. She told me I could leave and that a full refund would be issued. She told me not to confront the host directly. I did not confront the host directly. I packed my bag in the bathroom with the door locked. I pulled on my clothes in the bathroom. I moved through the apartment only as long as I absolutely had to, and I kept my face down, not out of shame, but because I did not want whoever might be watching to know that I knew. I wanted to leave as quietly as I had arrived. I wanted to give nothing away. I took the elevator down. I walked 2 blocks before I stopped shaking. What followed was a long, exhausting process. Airbnb suspended the listing within 24 hours. A local detective I spoke with told me that the placement of devices in a bedroom constitutes criminal voyeurism in most jurisdictions. He asked me to send him the photographs I had taken. I did. He told me that Marcus, if that was even his real name, had likely recorded dozens of guests before me. He told me that these devices sell for as little as $30 online and that the practice is far more common than people realize. I asked him whether anything would happen to Marcus. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "It depends on whether we can prove intent." That answer has stayed with me ever since. I have stayed in other places since that trip. I always arrive a little earlier than I need to. I always walk through every room before I unpack. I look at smoke detectors from multiple angles. I look at USB chargers, at clocks, at air fresheners, at any small cylindrical object on a high shelf with a clear line of sight to somewhere private. I carry a small RF signal detector now. It cost me $20. It fits in my jacket pocket. I do not think I am paranoid. I think I am careful. There is a difference, and learning that difference was the most expensive lesson I ever paid for with nothing but my dignity. The apartment still exists on the listing platform under a different name, with different photographs. I found it again 6 months later by accident while searching for a place in the same city. The ceramic rooster was gone from the kitchen shelf, but the Edison bulbs were still there, warm and amber, making everything look soft and safe and like exactly what you needed. I closed the browser. I did not book it.